Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast. Now, at the end of every episode, I always say, please email me, connect with me on social media, and let's get to know each other a little bit better. And I am always constantly exploring of how I can break down this digital barrier between us and communicate with you all. And I've just discovered a new social media platform. It's invite only at the moment, and it's called Clubhouse. Has anyone out there heard about it? In a nutshell, think of a social media platform, but you just communicate in audio. So there's no photos or videos or anything like that. So I am currently exploring if I can use it to speak with you all directly. But like I said, it is invite only at the moment, and I do have a couple of invites. So if anyone listening is interested in trying it out, please send me a quick message and I'll see what I can do. But on with today's show, and today I have Mike McDaniel from DXC Technology on the podcast. And he has an interesting backstory. They appeared on my radar when I heard that DXC actually planned to sell that part of the business last fall. But then COVID happened and they decided to keep it to help support companies that were starting to work remotely. Fast forward 12 months, and not only that, they've now doubled down on it, appointing a new lead, today's guest, Mike McDaniel, and this month announcing a major workplace collaboration with Microsoft called DXC My Work Style. We've got so much to get through today, so buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Arizona so we can speak with Mike right now. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Well, thank you, Neil. My name is Mike McDaniel, and I'm the Modern Workplace Global Lead here at DXC Technology. Been here at the company about 4 months now.
Fantastic. And at DXC Technology, you guys pride yourself on running mission-critical systems that help keep the world running. And as we will have a mixture of techies, business leaders, and decision makers listening to our conversation today, could you help get everyone on the same page by just telling us a little bit more about the kind of problems that you're solving with technology?
Absolutely. It's a great question. Because we deal primarily in the infrastructure space, we tend to think of the things we do at DXC as the foundational items that people really use to run technology, whether that's the infrastructure and how they store and move data, to how they keep their data safe and secure, to all their endpoint devices that are out there working in their facilities while people are working at home. We kind of handle all those aspects of it more, and because we do that, the mission critical work we do is first and foremost, it's all around security, and then it's really the human interface into the use of technology and how we can drive the experience of the overall employee the overall employee base.
And there has been a lot of stories in the tech industry after the last 12 months. But when I read something about DXC, it really resonated with me. And I felt that we had to talk about it and maybe share it today. And that was the story that DXC's workplace and mobility business was actually going to be sold before COVID arrived. But it's now DXC's most successful business unit. It's just incredible. But can you share that story?
Yeah, as we were, as our new CEO, Mike Salvino, came into the business, he was really looking at the business from all different lenses. And he kicked off a process where we looked at strategic alternatives and said, how do we shore up the overall or the underlying business within DXC? And he started running a playbook that he's run at other places he's worked. And it was really around having an intense focus on customers, intense focus on our employees, really looking at our cost base in the overall offering space and saying, are we really attacking the right places within the marketplace in order to drive business growth and innovation, et cetera. So when he looked at the workplace business, he saw that there were there were several years where the performance of the overall business was not doing well. And so he went out in the marketplace to say, hey, is this really a business that we could sell as part of the overall business and really help shore up our balance sheet? As we're going through that process, we found, of course, the pandemic hit, and we really seen an intense focus by our customer base and in the global 2,500 companies around the world, an intense focus on driving a better employee experience, as well as ensuring there's this ability to continue to collaborate and interact in a different way. And because of that, it made us change our strategic direction because we're such a big player in this space.
So I'm curious, how has the pandemic impacted DXC Technology and the services that you offer for your customers? Because I think just about every business that I've spoken to every day on this podcast, they've all had to go through some form of evolution or even pivot in some cases. But how has it impacted you guys?
Again, a great question. I would say there's two or three key areas that it's really impacted our business. Number one, as more people moved to remote working situations, they needed a different device in order to complete the tasks that they used to go in the office for. So most of that meant they needed a laptop to work at home. They also needed a collaboration platform in order to expand that at-home interaction as people were sitting virtually. And so what we saw was an increase in the amount of usage of WebEx, Teams, Zoom across the entire all industries. And the predominant collaboration platform in that space is Microsoft Teams. And we are the largest installer of Teams globally. And so we just saw that practice for us increase. And so that was one big driver of it. And then the second piece was around the hardware, the end units that we support. If you go out and you talk to the HPs of the world, Lenovo, Dell, they've all seen a dramatic increase in the number of PCs that people are buying. And so we play pretty heavily in that market as well in providing that infrastructure to our clients.
And from the conversations that you've been having with your businesses and clients throughout the year, what have been their top challenges? Have there been any trends there, and how have you helped them overcome those challenges?
Yeah, there's a couple of trends that we're seeing. The amount of tickets that would get called into the IT help desk, that kind of thing, is we've seen a big increase in that. And it's primarily because we have these people sitting remote. They used to be able to have more self-help tools, or they were in the office, someone could help them fix that stuff. Now that they're sitting remote, they don't have access to all that. And so we've seen a huge increase in the amount of support that is needed for these folks that are working remotely. What that allows us to do is really focus on how do we automate that and provide a more consumer based experience to the end employee, rather than picking up the phone, sitting on a help desk, talking to an individual and working through the problem. It's how do they get that problem solved, and how do we know it's a problem before it actually becomes a problem? Computer, hard drive filling up, not having the right software, that kind of stuff, passwords being reset. So that's kind of one area of issues. The other was, as there were more endpoints being issued out on the edge, if you will, we've seen a huge increase in the number of agents that companies have had to put on the computer to ensure the security of that device. And so because of that, it's actually created the systems to run a lot slower and for people to have more problems. And so our engineers have been working with our clients to figure out how do we streamline that, reduce the amount of drag that's on their end devices, and at the same time, how do we automate a lot of those things that they were calling the help desk for.
And you mentioned a few moments ago I think it was thousands of machines all needing Microsoft Teams in it, and a lot of people weren't using it back then. But of course, the world's changed now. And one of the things I also read about you guys was your major workplace collaboration with Microsoft. I think it's called DXC My Work Style, which is incredibly intriguing. But can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, we're actually making some advancements there, Neil, too. Our My Work Style is kind of the tools and the processes we use to drive that employee experience across kind of four parts of our offering, right? We manage and run digital support services, which are traditionally known as support desk. We manage devices on behalf of our clients. And then we also help them with ensuring they're getting the best out of the software licensing that they're buying from their vendors for the things they need to run on their machines. And the fourth area that we see is this collaboration space. As people have moved to working more in a remote collaboration area, there's access to information they need, whether that's putting their information, moving it from SharePoints to helping them get a more efficient use of their Teams product by introducing Power BI applications, helping them drive different ways to view the information and share it among the different operators, because they're no longer in the office and being able to stand around a whiteboard. We've also, with some of our clients, introduced smart hubs where they're able to collaborate while they're sitting online, looking instead of at a static spreadsheet, actually working on a Power application that's helping them solve the problem in a different way and share the information in a different way. And what we see as we continue to make investments in that My Work Style platform is we're going to create more of an orchestration layer that will pull many different parts of information that is disparate today. So their ITSM information sits, whether that's in a remedy system or today, predominantly most of our people use ServiceNow, it sits in ServiceNow. There's the telemetry off the machine. So again, whether depending on the hardware device manufacturer they're using, that information presents itself in a different way. And then the collaboration platform itself. Predominantly, most people use Microsoft Office and Office 365. And as they look at that, there's telemetry that comes off of how people are collaborating. Our platform will pull all that data together and be able to draw inferences around what's the true productivity that's really being driven within the organization, and also the experience and how process, person, and technology all come together and work in a harmonious fashion.
And when they all do come together, for any business leaders or decision makers that are listening today, what does that consumer-like workplace experience that allows employees to work they want to, anytime, anywhere, and of course on any device, what does that look like? Do you have any use cases or maybe a before and after example that just help people understand?
Yeah, we do. Neil, we start to see, when you think about the influx of IoT devices into processes. So we've seen a couple of our manufacturing clients where we've helped them with a HoloLens device where we can start presenting information to an employee that's out in the field working on something that is critical to the overall operation. And the person they used to interact with might be in a facility, but could now be many miles away, not in the same location, remote. We can now see that interaction where someone's feeding them information, helping them solve the problem, while the technician has the HoloLens on, allowing that person who sits virtually to see what's happening in the operation and to guide them on the right way to fix it, how to change out a part, etc. And so we really see this interaction of people and devices in a way that's much different than the way it used to be in the past, and the access to ready information. And so we're also seeing the need for people to do quick searches and the ability to get at that information because it might exist in different places in disparate systems. Our ability within DXC to have our teams, whether that's across the infrastructure piece, across the apps piece, or the modern workplace piece, is to get that seamless connection of information across their business. And so we've seen a lot of that with the influx of IoT devices.
And what would you say your grand vision for the workplace looks like, and what will the future of work look like? Because I think there's so much talk at the moment about what that future of work will look like. Every business is chasing after it. I'm curious, how do you see things?
Well, it's a great question. As we see, number one, safety and security are paramount. That's kind of what I call the ticket to the dance. Yeah, you have to have those things to ensure the company can run in a very efficient way. And so it's around, no matter what device the employees are on, whether it's their phone, a laptop, a HoloLens, whatever that device is, that we have to be able to keep them connected globally onto a single secure backplane. And so as we see more companies moving towards that, there's an experience that people want to feel as well. So we see that this is no longer a place where just the IT people are weighing in, but we're starting to see an influx of HR getting in on decisions around the workplace, facilities being in on that decision around workplace applications. And so we see the decision making moving within a company and getting more people involved, because we've seen things like Safety Suite. That's one of the offerings of My Work Style, where people want to know, how are our employees when they come back into the office? How do we keep them safe? How do we know where people are? How do we update our CMDB in a very virtual way, all the while creating a much more consumer-led experience to our folks and employees in the organization? And so I see a future that's very different, where people have the information at their fingertips they need. They have the ability to solve problems, not just by calling an IT help desk, but by interactions with other employees virtually in using social networking tools, et cetera. And so we see the workplace being totally reimagined. And we also see one other aspect, which is, you've probably heard a lot about this concept of personas, and companies will say, hey, we have 4 or 5 different personas of people that work inside of our business. At DXC, we think of it as a persona of one, much more personalized experience. We have individuals that like to work on certain devices, so let's give them those options. We see a lot more bring your own device to work type options. And so this is all around a flexible solution that gets people the hardware and the information that they need, where they want it, how they want to receive it, in a way that's safe and secure, quite simply put.
Love that. And it's such a huge topic that we can't do justice and go through everything in a 30-minute podcast interview. So for anyone listening that we've left wanting more and want to find you online, find out more about the work you're doing, or even contact your team if they've got any questions, what's the best way of doing that?
Yeah, we've actually spent some time updating all of our material and really streamline the information online at DXC Technology / Modern Workplace. And you can go out there and see real case examples of where we've helped our clients. You can also see our different offerings on our 4 different offerings that I discussed earlier. And then you can also, there's contact information, and we'll reach out and get any information you may need.
Excellent. Well, I'll add those links to the blog post that will accompany this episode. But just a big thank you from me for taking the time today to sit down and share your vision for the workplace business, workplace trends for 2021, and what the future might look like, and how to put employee experience at the centre. It's going to be such a big year for all those things, and I'd love to get you on towards the end of the year and see how things are progressing. But more than anything, just thanks for joining me today.
Neil, thank you so much for the time and also the opportunity to share a little bit around what we're doing at DXC Technology and Modern Workplace, and look forward to talking with you again in the future.
What a great guy. I could have just chatted with Mike for hours. And here's another guy that's been added to my cool fellas I'd like to share a cold beer with on a hot sunny day. And as I sit here in lockdown Britain, I'm clinging to days like that, believe me. Especially as the Glastonbury Festival has just been cancelled for the second year in a row. And as regular listeners will know, that is somewhere I traditionally recharge my mojo once a year for the last 10 years straight. But enough of my rambling. I cannot thank Mike enough for coming on here and sharing his vision for the workplace business, workplace trends for 2021, what the future of work might look like, and how to put the employee experience at the centre of everything. So any questions, insights, anything that may have resonated with you, please share it with me. If you want to come on the show or ask a question, again, email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and now Clubhouse. I'm just at Neil C. Hughes across everything. And my website is techblogwriter.co.uk. But that's it for today's episode. So I'll speak with you all again tomorrow. But a big thank you for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.